Hey guys, welcome back. Sorry, I hope you can hear me. There's a lot of traffic behind me. See that sign? You probably know where we are. We are at H&H Tackle. So, I'm gonna head on inside, see what Matt's up to. Let's check him out. We're gonna surprise him, alright?
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Oh, not too bad.
That's good. Working away like you are.
Yes, sir. Keeping the shelves nice and healthily stocked.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Never know who's gonna come in for what. Ice fishing season isn't quite done yet, but
No, not yet.
No.
It's supposed to warm up though, so
yeah, hoping that doesn't warm up too much, but you never know. Still probably have some hardcore guys out there, you know.
That's true.
That's very
Through
true.
the week, huh?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh, what's new and exciting with you?
Not much. Just doing a YouTube video in the shop.
Cool.
Get you some publicity.
Yeah.
More people in the store, sell more stuff.
That's right.
Alright.
That looks a lot better now.
Let's
Touch up a
see.
little bit of the product that way. Keep her nice and healthy.
Yep. That does look awesome.
Been a decent year.
Yeah, so what would you recommend for perch fishing?
Perch fishing?
Yeah.
Like Simcoe, Erie.
Let's say everything.
So a nice whole well-rounded
Like
bait.
a variety, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So most guys go one of two routes when they're kind of picking out a lure. They either go for shiny or noisy.
Okay.
So like a spoon, like a slab grabber, Freedom flutter spoon, the Williams ice spoons, something that gives a lot of flash when it's going down in a fluttering motion.
Alright.
Really drives some perch nuts and crazy that way. The other way, the one I personally like to use, is baits that rattle and make noise. So like the buckshot UV spoons, the BMC rattle spoons, they make a rattle when you jig them in the water, so it draws the fish in, you know.
Okay.
And sometimes we leave the hooks bare, sometimes we tip them if, you know, the fish are responding different, or they're not aggressively striking the bait without anything on it. We got the Hyper Rattle. This guy, I killed it on Simcoe. Up, down in the strike zone, little heavier weight, but that, I fished for 4 hours straight and was just hammering fish on that color. Sometimes they were tipped, sometimes I just threw the bait back down, and yeah, I basically caught what I took home on that bait. Let a 12.5 incher go, got some nice pictures, measurements that way. But I mean, I always like a rattling bait to call them in, keep them interested, and if they're not committing to the bait as is, that's when I get a little creative, tip it with a live maggot or something like that, and get them to commit. They're looking at it, they're interested, they're just not willing to commit. Sometimes tipped with a maggot, even some of the soft plastics like a lunker hunt or power bait. Mealworm, waxworm, grass worm can prove very, very effective and deadly when targeting those larger perch. Plus it's versatile. It's a nice heavier one, so you can go fish 25, 30 feet of water, no problem. Take it to somewhere like Lake Erie, where you know you're fishing 8, 10 feet deep, usually is the majority of the depth out in the inner bay there, and still have an effective bait, rattles, calls the fish in if there are no immediate fish around.
Okay. What would you use for lake trout?
Lake trout. I don't have a lot of gear for lake trout, but the bass guys can appreciate this one. We're looking at big paddle-tailed minnows, big fork-tailed minnows, like the power bait. White is right. Anything flashy, white, silver, fleck, anything like that's really gonna drive them in. A lot of bass guys will have these white tubes in their box, and they have been proven very deadly and effective for lake trout fishing as well. Plus I got the rattling tube jig heads to put inside them. We're going back to that rattle. Call them in from afar. None of those baits are moving, but you can definitely hear that distinguishable rattle. Yep. We have some kamukis. I know a few guys have been using them for lake trout. A lot more guys have been using them more effectively for walleye, but they are one of those crossover baits where you can use one bait to catch multiple species, which, you know, no one's really made of money these days, so one bait that can do more for you is a better bait to get. I know the whitefish and the lake trout have their day hammering these Sebills too, the vibratos. I've tried them walleye fishing and didn't have any luck, but I didn't have luck on anything that day, so I don't think it was necessarily the lure. But you know, that's just fishing.
Okay, what kind of line would you use?
For perch, lake trout.
Like is there all around general line you can use?
If you wanted to get away with a one all around, I would probably say the braid, like a Fireline micro ice or a I guess Nanofill. I don't have any in stock, but Nanofill made by Berkeley's a good one too, I guess, ice fishing. What else? I mean, mono's okay, but if you're doing multiple, the braid's got the thin diameter plus the no stretch, so it's a tough one to beat when gearing for multi-species that way. If I'm just going for perch, I would grab probably some 3 or 4 pound test mono ice line and call it a day, the micro ice.
Okay.
But if you're wanting one line to do it, yes, it's a little more expensive, but in reality, with that thin diameter, you just have to play with a little bit of fluorocarbon leader here and there to beef it up or dumb it down for the smaller and bigger fish that way.
So you're saying the Fireline would be great?
Yeah, everyone's been dinging it, so that's all I got left is some 2 pound test and some 6 pound test. Same with the micro ice. Guys were going for some walleye, weren't really into the braid, which is totally, I can appreciate that. But you know, the 3 and the 4 is basically what's left in that. I had 6, 8, and 10, and obviously if you're using 6, 8, or 10, you're going for a little bit larger fish, walleye, whitefish. The 10 would probably be, I know the one I sold 10 pound for pike, you know, so you can beef up a leader a little bit more, but still have a strong main line that way, in the event you get a big fish that way. So,
what kind of rod would you put it on? The rods you use?
For perch fishing, a light action rod with a relatively good bend.
Okay.
Whippy action is about where it's at. For a walleye or a lake trout even, you're looking for at least a more medium light. Lake trout, you probably would want a medium heavy. This one's medium light, but it's got a pretty stiff action on it. Okay. I would say this would be about right for your lake trout, whitefish, more whitefish, walleye. If you're using heavy lures, this would be ideal because then you're still getting a bit of sensitivity off of that lure and then the backbone to bring them up through the hole. Perch, you're looking at, most guys like the ultralight because they love the sensitivity to detect those really minute bites, and I can just jiggle it in my hand and you can see how sensitive that is. But then still also have the backbone in case you do get that 13 or 14 inch perch on. You don't want anything to happen, but very sensitive tip to detect those really little bites. I like to see a tip that detects my minnow swimming around, so I know when to jig it. Make sure that minnow's nice, lively action underneath the hole that way. This would be a good walleye rod. Wild Series, it's a light. It says 2 to 6, but it's that nice. If you're using smaller baits for the walleye, it's got a nice action on it. So you can still see that the fish is biting on it. But you don't want them too crazy long unless you're outside of a hut. The shorter rods are a little bit better for inside the hut. I know guys like their 30 inchers and stuff outside of the hut. If you're doing more lake trout and pike, I would recommend at least a medium, if not closer to a medium heavy or a heavy action rod. Because those fish usually give some good pulls and you don't want a light action rod blowing up on you when you get the fish of a lifetime on. Awesome.
Awesome, man. So what else you got in here that people come and pick up and usually buy and...
Oh, the Pickerel Rigs, they sell year round.
Okay.
I mean, people have not stopped using them. It's something that most anglers use to keep it simple, but effectively you got 2 hooks in the water that way. So it doubles your chances, whether you run the same bait on both hooks or mix it up. A minnow higher up and a worm closer near the bottom is sometimes very effective way to catch walleye as well, because then they can pick and choose, tell you what they want. I know perch fishing, I've had it on Lake Simcoe where I've changed from buckshots in the morning to a tungsten, you know, little bug bite, and then by middle of the day you're hitting them on a spoon because they want a fluttering flash kind of falling action that way, because they're not responding to the baits. Whether you're looking down the hole or using your electronics, watching those electronics and watching those fish respond is very key. If they're not committing, that means everything else but what is happening down there is getting them to commit. They like the look of it or the action, but maybe you need to tip it with some fake bait or some live bait that way to get them to commit. Then you adapt. Some people keep it simple with the hooks, sinkers that way, maggot, minnow, whatever the case may be. Some guys like to get a little more creative, experimental that way. Some of my deadliest is the most simple, where I'll take a tungsten. This is a silver and gold pack, so you get a silver one, you get a gold one. Put one of those down, then I'll tie one of these demons about that far up, and if I got a maggot on here, I'll tip that with a minnow, so I'm giving them 2 options. So I know, okay, that's the 3rd fish that's hit the minnow. They're obviously off the bottom in a little more aggressive of a striking manner, and they're wanting a minnow opposed from a little maggot or a soft plastic down on the tungsten. Other times you can't beat a bug bite. That's what they're eating. Little sand shrimps, grass shrimp, you know, nymphs, mayflies, any little soft little bugs that way, maggots. When they're, especially a cold front, they are a little more lethargic, a little more hesitant to eat a larger minnow like they would maybe sunny day, you know, middle of the day that way. So then you got to downsize your bait, slow down your baits that way. Sometimes the jigging wraps, like or the lunker hunts, jigging wraps, a vertical presentation that way sometimes is the key. Other days they don't want it, and you're going to be able to realize that and adapt. That way you have productive fish under you and you can keep them active, keep them around and under your hole. That's why I like the rattles, because you just give it a couple little jigs and they go, whoa, I heard it again. Where is he, Bob? Oh, that's it. And they come over and they smash it, they commit it. Seabill's put out a vibration. It's not a flash. It's not a flash, it's not a rattle, it's a vibration. These things produce one wicked vibration. You can feel it when you really jerk up on them. They'll go sideways through the water, sending out vibrations. And that's another thing fish key in on, is the vibrations of a struggling bait fish. You know, a worm that's submerged under the water gives off a very erratic action, and fish will hone in on that. Sometimes it's just a good vibration will get the fish going. Definitely.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Did you guys catch all that?
Sorry, I talk a little fast sometimes. I get excited and just verbal diarrhea.
That's okay. It's fishing. I do too. I love fishing. So
I love fishing.
This is your store. When did you establish the store?
So H&H Tackle was officially made its own business back April of 2015.
Okay.
Where I am the owner, so I've been owner for just coming up 3 years. We did a relocation back in June of 2017. We're now at 53 Coburn Street West. Okay?
Alright.
Got a new phone number about a year or so ago, 519-752-FISH. That's the number. Or 519-752-3474.
Okay, I gotcha.
Yep.
What are your store hours?
Store hours are currently Tuesday 9 till 7. Wednesday and Thursday are the same, 7 a.m. till 5 p.m. Friday is 6 a.m. till 6:30. Saturday 6 till 6, and Sunday is 7 till 5. Closed Mondays. Gone fishing.
That's some awesome advice from you, man. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, not a problem.
Thanks for letting us stop in and come into your shop.
Of course, anytime, unless it's Monday.
That's true.
Gone fishing Monday.